All right, let's get right into it. If you're an accounting professional, you know the ground is shifting under your feet. So today, we're going to break down a framework that's all about making a crucial shift, moving your firm from just being a historian of your client's past to being the architect of their future. It's all built around this idea called the continuity bridge. So let's start with this big question. This really gets to the very heart of the matter, doesn't it? It frames the entire challenge facing the industry today. For years, the role was pretty clear. You document, you report, you make sure everything is compliant. But let's be honest, is that really enough to stay essential anymore? And here is exactly why that question is so urgent. The whole rear view mirror thing, it's a perfect analogy. Clients are tired of just looking at what's already happened. They want a guide for the road ahead. They're looking for a strategist. And that puts a ton of pressure on the traditional accounting model, which was pretty much built to look backward. Okay, so what happens when things aren't coordinated? Well, you get gaps. And we're not talking about little cracks in the pavement here. We're talking about major, hidden risks that pop up when all the different pieces of a client's financial life just aren't talking to each other. This quote from Blaise Tameau, who actually created this whole framework, just nails it. Think about it. Tax strategy is over here, risk mitigation is over there, wealth management is doing its own thing. It's kind of like building a house where the plumber and the electrician have never even met. Sure, the individual parts might seem okay, but the system as a whole, it's a disaster waiting to happen. And here are the usual suspects, the big pillars that so often end up as lonely islands. You know how it goes. A client's got a tax person, a wealth manager, an attorney, all smart people for sure. But if they're not all reading from the same playbook, they can end up tripping over each other, creating these really expensive gaps without even realizing it. All right, so we've got the problem, disconnected pillars and dangerous gaps. So what's the solution? Well, that's where this whole idea of the continuity bridge comes into play. It's a framework built for one purpose, to connect those pillars and build one seamless financial structure for the client. So what is it really? Well, at its core, it's a system. It's a process designed to completely break down those silos. The whole point is to make sure that a decision made about taxes also makes sense for their investments and doesn't mess up their estate plan. Everything finally starts working together as part of one cohesive strategy. But how do you actually do it? It's not as complicated as it sounds. It's really just a four-step process. First, you just look for the opportunities, the gaps, with your current clients. Step 2, you have a big team meeting. Get all the experts in one room, literally or virtually. Then you actually design the bridge, the plan. And finally, you put it all into action. And the best part, you, the accountant, stay right at the center of it all. Okay, this all sounds amazing in theory, but you're probably thinking, am I supposed to go out and hire a whole army of specialists now? And the answer is no. That's the real magic behind this. It's all powered by something called the Virtual Family Office, or VFO. Now, this part is absolutely crucial to understand. The VFO isn't here to replace you or compete with you, not at all. Think of it like a plug-and-play extension of your own practice. It just bolts right on. It's all about making you more powerful, putting you at the very center of that client relationship, kind of like a quarterback. And just look at what happens when you plug this in. Instantly, your firm can offer services that, frankly, were usually reserved for billionaires. We're talking super advanced tax planning, coordinated legal services, wealth management that actually talks to the tax plan, the whole shebang, and it's all offered through your firm under your guidance. And this number right here, this says it all. How many new people do you have to hire to get all these new capabilities? 0, nothing, nada. That's the real game changer. You get an entire team of elite specialists. Your firm's value skyrockets, and your payroll doesn't budge one bit. It's all about smart collaboration, not massive overhead. Okay, let's step back and look at the big picture here. What is the real advantage of all this? What does this transformation actually look like for your firm day to day? How does your value proposition fundamentally change? It really boils down to the simple but powerful comparison. You go from being a commodity, a necessary service that has to be done but could theoretically be done by anyone, to becoming the essential strategic partner, the one person they can't imagine making a big decision without. That's a huge, huge shift. And this chart just lays it all out so clearly. Look at the difference. Your service scope goes from just compliance to holistic strategy. Your overhead goes from sky high to 0. Your revenue model? It shifts from chasing billable hours to charging premium advisory fees. And client retention? Well, that's the holy grail, isn't it? You become impossible to replace.
This quote really sums up the entire mindset shift that's needed. It's not about knowing everything yourself anymore. The world's just way too complex for that. The real value, the future, is in being the one who can coordinate everyone else. You're not just playing an instrument, you become the conductor of the entire orchestra.
So, it all comes back to this one last critical question. The framework is there, the tools exist, the only question left is for you. Are you ready to make that leap? Are you ready to stop being the historian and start being the architect?